So we are live. It's the World Cup diary. We're on location. And mainly it is going to be me here, sort of on my travels around the place. But once a week, we have to check up with our boy, our roving reporter. You may have seen him on social media networks, traveling through airports, getting dropped off by his mum to start off the competition, go to Atlanta, make his way to Mexico City. And I will say, Sean O'Connor, I'm broadcasting this from a soulless press centre in Toronto, the air-conditioned sort of overpriced sort of places that you will find in this competition. But you've got the Azteca behind you. I mean, you just need to step back and think about that. Like, you do have one of the most famous venues in world football over your shoulder. But don't want to lose connection by stepping out a shot. I mean, to be honest, you have pointed out that there is people going, that appears to be a toilet over your shoulder that people are going to. So there is no glamour in this gig sometimes. That's where you have to broadcast from. But yeah, how's your journey been?
Good, yeah. So far, so good. Travel over was grand. Connection through Atlanta. Some people might have seen my Come With Me to the World Cup, which I think has gone viral. It's gone totally viral across Ireland so far, from what I'm hearing. But yeah, so far so good. We just after having Gianni's press conference inside the media centre. That is the toilet, but around the corner is the media centre. And I was kind of thinking, just with the Azteca, the last match I've actually worked at was, I think, Drogheda United 2 weeks ago, and now the World Cup opener Thursday night, Mexico against South Africa. It's a bit of a step up from Sullivan Lamb Park, but yeah, so far so good. So I think we're going to chat about Gianni's press conference. I know you were following it. The media room was absolutely jammed. He had a 35-minute opening address before there was some questions from the floor. And of course, the last couple of weeks, the last couple of months, this World Cup, a lot of the talking points have been off the pitch, non-football issues, and I'm sure we'll touch on a couple of those.
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose that is the thing. I mean, I know for you, this is your first time covering the World Cup, and I mean, this is effectively just going out on the morning that the competition gets underway. I think a lot of people have this conflicted feeling because I can probably see it in some of your stuff. Like, I get it, even your drive by on Drogheda there, unfortunate, but it is like there is that excitement of being at the World Cup, which is natural. And then you have the fact that, like, Gianni Infantino's opening press conference, like, a lot of it's a horror show, really, where he's sort of talking about to chill and relax about referees, journalists, fans, various people being denied visas, which is the type of thing that if it was taking place in a sort of a quote unquote sort of third world state, there would be people up in arms about it. Look, people are up in arms about it. I mean, that is the reality. And you have a more tightly controlled, probably, state-controlled event and commentary around this than you would have in some of those places. And I've covered those tournaments where maybe it was easier at times even to ask some of those questions. So I don't know how you feel about it, because it's obviously, there's an excitement, which I get. It's completely natural. But that event that you've attended, like, it just shows up how dysfunctional this tournament is.
It was bizarre. It was something I was speaking quite a bit about to, people asking me before I was going out. Of course, it's from personal point of view, my first World Cup, and there is that excitement, but it's impossible not to recognise the many, many, many issues leading into this World Cup. And like as journalists, we wouldn't be doing our job if we weren't looking into them, reporting on them. Like, there's no way I could have come here for these 5-6 weeks and been like, oh, look, it's amazing, it's great, look at this game, look at that game, look at the final, and totally ignore the other stuff and pretty much the more important stuff, like visas being denied. And you were kind of thinking, like, the likes of you and I probably would have had a easier route to get into the US than people actually, refereeing at the tournament or staff, part of teams at the tournament, which is quite bizarre. So it's impossible not to come here and recognise and report on the important stuff. But yeah, like, Gianni came in, no applause at the start, I must say. It was kind of muted. And you were kind of
There shouldn't be applause. There shouldn't be applause when someone's coming into a press conference.
No, but there was kind of like there was a real, you know, I think he came across as someone who he was expecting a bit of fanfare or a bit of here I am, and he kind of looked up a couple of times and oh geez, no one's kind of reacting to it much. And we all remember the pre-Qatar press conference, like today I feel gay. He was saying etc. And you kind of got a hint into how today was going to go. We started off by saying there are other issues we'll discuss, but he started off by asking all the media, all the journalists to really try and focus on the football, like shameless stuff, absolutely bizarre, evasive, shameless kind of just vibe throughout the whole thing. And there's been really serious issues like Iran having to move their training camp to Mexico, not being able to having to fly to the US and fly home the same day on their same match days. And at the same time, he's kind of cracking jokes with the media officer beside him. I think he was asked a question, he was going to win the World Cup, asked a question about Messi. And just a real, bit of arrogance. And I know this won't come as a surprise to many people watching this, but just to be in that room, to be in his presence for the first time, it's really bizarre.
Yeah, I suppose that is the thing, like the range of questions that are asked at this tournament. And listen, I know there would be people probably popping up in comments and asking questions, going, "Stop talking about this." And it is the striking thing as well that, there are so many countries participating in this competition, where people just aren't as energized by some of the issues that are being raised. And that is possibly because what they're conditioned to in their own countries, or it's just a different mindset. And you always have to be conscious of that. And look, I have to almost jump from it to say, Friday's diary is going to be very much centered around Canada, where I am. I may or may not have recorded one or two of the links for that already. I'm conscious that people think I'm just wearing the same clothes all the time. So I have to be honest here about this. But the opening games on Thursday, they are in Mexico. There is one that I don't even know if I want to talk about it. In fact, I'm not even sure I'm going to talk about it, because really, this should be we should all be on location in Guadalajara. But the people who want to stay up and torture themselves and watch Korea and Czechia, then they will. And look, best to look at them. But Mexico and South Africa. I know you're not in the country that long, but have you got any sense of, okay, what is the feel in Mexico, which is more than the other two nations, it has to be said, football country?
Like you're looking at the stadium behind me, that's where Pele, obviously people will know, won the World Cup in Brazil in 1970. Then there's Maradona's turn by Argentina in 1986. Just walking up here, you do get that sense of history, that sense that this is a real, what you want to call it, a real cathedral of football. But yeah, kind of being in and around the city on the way up to the stadium, there is, I must say, I know we've covered a couple of World Cups, but just walking in here, one thing that struck me was how unprepared certain bits are. Like a lot around here looks like a construction site.
Nothing new there, yeah. Nothing new.
Taxi, there was probably 50 or 60 people frantically planting plants and kind of new plants and trees, kind of ready to spruce the place up. And taking place in 24 hours, there is a lot of work still going on here around, but kind of leading into Thursday, speaking to a couple of people, obviously there's a lot of excitement. The expectation is that they might hopefully make it out of the group stage, and maybe even a quarter final would be a good result, speaking to a couple of people around here. But there is excitement, but just the thing people keep coming back to, people have been talking to, is the ticket prices and it's the cost. The tax driver was saying, he can't afford to go to the games here, prefers to watch it at a bar. It is that cost that's preventing people. Obviously, the wage in Mexico would be a lot lower as well. There's protests in Mexico City as well this afternoon with the fan zone. Teachers protesting over pay, union protests as well. So, of course, like this World Cup, there's a couple of off-the-field issues, but come 1 p.m. local time here on Thursday, this big opening ceremony as well. There'll be plenty of colour in it, ready for this World Cup to be kicked off. But I just think the important thing to say is we are very excited. The World Cup is like nothing else, but just it'd be impossible not to come here and recognise the other unprecedented issues that are going on.
Yeah, no, you couldn't say that. I mean, some of them are unprecedented, some of them are occurring, and that's that is the thing. But it is sometimes the case that the football takes off. No, in generally, it's always the case that the football takes off and it becomes center stage. But we'll just see how this one pans out, I guess. That is the great unknown. But look, you're going to go back to your social media zone now. I know you're traveling to LA over the weekend. You're going to take in a couple of games there, and people can follow us across our various channels. I'm in Canada here tomorrow, catching up with Kevin Kilban. There's going to be a little bit of build up to Canada's big day. So yeah, that is the story, Sean. You stay safe out there, and you enjoy it. And as ever, you can follow all our coverage on the Irish Independent on the website, in print, and across the various online platforms from now until the end of the competition on July the 19th. Thanks for joining me, Sean. Talk soon.
Thanks, Dan.